Hello, and welcome to Mindlight, the program designed to stimulate your thinking about life. My name is Anna Vitale, and I'm a certified hypnotist and certified hypnosis instructor. What contributes to a balanced mind and body, and how can we all reach our personal best? As a hypnotist for over 20 years, I believe we can accomplish that goal by learning how to harness and direct the power of positive thoughts. My special guest today incorporates a broader approach to both physical and mental well-being. He is Michael Pellegrino, holistic nutritionist. Welcome to Mindlight.
Thank you so much, Anna. Really appreciate it.
Can you explain to our viewers and to me what a holistic nutritionist is?
Let's start off with what is a nutritionist? A nutritionist is an individual who will help others with their health challenges specializing in nutrition, human nutrition. The holistic aspect of that is understanding and addressing these nutritional imbalances, deficiencies, and addressing a person's health challenges by looking at the whole person. Somebody comes and sees me with let's say they get migraines a lot. I'm not just looking to say, okay, what can I throw at this nutritionally to help with the migraine? What I want to look for and what I want to get into is what is causing this issue. What's going on with this person? I'm treating that person as a whole person, all the different levels. So yeah, there's the nutritional, their own biochemical self, their physical self, their mental, emotional selves, environmental exposures. You know, there's so much that contributes to our life experience. And I'm going to be looking at the whole picture so I can determine what is best for that person.
The term holistic means taking the whole body in.
Yes, so it's instead of looking at a person as just a sum of all these different parts, you look at them as the whole, where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. There's an essence to this person that's far greater than just taking all these parts of them, putting it all together, and there you go, you have a person.
Like the whole life of the person and the mental
Exactly.
life of the person?
The mental, the emotional, everything. Where they're living, their interactions, their relationships. Very, very important relationships, because everything is a relationship. Without relationships, that's what I mean, the contrast, the differences, how things, response, stimuli, responses, it's all relationship, everything.
What's lacking in general medical practice is our healthcare system forces doctors to limit the time they spend with people so that they can't even say what else is going on in your life. They don't have time.
I know.
So
the whole system is dysfunctional. I really believe in the macrocosm, microcosm, that whole connection. So we're living in a dysfunctional system. That's a reflection of the internal destructive dysfunctional system that we're experiencing. And it all is connected. So, let's talk about with, those who are having mental disorder, who have a mental disorder.
yeah, first of all, let's say, would you tell somebody to get off their drugs?
Never.
To follow nutritional practices?
No, absolutely not. I am of no authority to tell a person to do that.
And neither am I.
So what I would do is give them information, educate them on what has been shown to be helpful through the scientific literature. And that person needs to be able to work with their practitioner. And if their practitioner is not open-minded enough, is just going to disregard it, throw it out, well then that person needs to find another practitioner.
Right.
It's that simple.
Get another one.
Well, it may not be that simple because they're far in between to find a good practitioner, but
it is. Sometimes you have to shop for them, just like you shop for good clothes or anything else. You have to be choosy about who you are surrendering your life to, because basically that's what you're doing when you go to any practitioner. You're telling them to help you, and if they don't really take the whole picture, the holistic picture, and then they're only looking at one finger or one little aspect of your life, which is your symptoms.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. Personally, I think that human beings, given their intestinal tract, We're not meant to consume meat. If you think about a cat, for example, it has a very short intestinal tract, and it's what they call an obligate carnivore. So I think part of it is that we're too meat-based.
Even though I follow a strictly plant-based diet, no meats, I do think that we can be quite healthy with meats in our diet. It's just that the quality of the meats that we're consuming is so poor that we're getting poor nutrition from that. And we're not eating enough plant-based foods to counteract any potential negative adverse effects from that meat. So we're having too much meat, not enough plant-based foods, and that's when we run into problems. But if you look at indigenous peoples throughout the world who do consume meats, but then they also consume plant-based foods, these people have no chronic health diseases.
You're right that most of the meat that we get today is not good quality, and mainly because of factory farming that's so prevalent in our society, and what they do to the animals. And I know that you are leaning towards spirituality.
Yes.
And if you think about the spirituality of an animal is an earthling, like you and I, and the way they're treated, I think, even if you didn't care that they're animals and you ate them, there's the aspect of the spirit of the animal.
Yes.
And the stress that it's under. And even if it's as you say, high quality, it's been raised on a farm and everybody's treated it well, they're still going to slaughter it.
Right.
And it's still going to undergo a tremendous amount of very negative stress.
Absolutely.
Which I believe transfers onto the meat and that you consume it. And I think most meat-eating societies are very aggressive. We're talking today about holistic nutrition with my very special guest, Michael Pellegrino, a holistic nutritionist. Even if you don't care about an animal, there is an energy that is, I believe, that is transmitted when you mistreat an animal, when you slaughter an animal. And they have found that the most aggressive societies are meat-eating societies.
There's a process, heavily developed nations like America and other developed countries, where there's they eat the Western diet. There is higher rates of mental disorders than in other countries where they don't consume those foods. They eat more of their natural diet, their indigenous diet, you might say. There's one aspect. We can also look at countries where, I'll get more specific, a lot of people have heard about omega-3 fatty acids. We see that in nations where they have high fish consumption, diets high in omega-3 fatty acids, these people have lower rates of depression and other mental disorders here.
You mentioned omega-3.
Yes.
I happen to be a vegan, and I get plenty of omega-3 from flaxseed.
Yes.
Flaxseed oil, flaxseed. So I think that too many people are leaning on fish oil, and that fish oil is now, the oceans are not a good place to find healthy food anymore, at least from what I've been reading.
Right.
It's got a lot of mercury, and the fish farming
it's terrible.
is really making things worse. What do you think about omega-3 from flaxseed oil?
Okay, I'll describe. In the omega-3s, it's essential fatty acid. Essential means that we need it. We can't synthesize it from our own body. There are more medium chain fatty acids, like shorter chain, that come from things like flaxseed, chia seed, hemp seeds. It's called alpha-linoleic acid, ALA, you might see it as. In the body, when we consume that, it gets converted into what you might see in the fish oils as DHA and EPA.
So the body converts it to DHA, and see that I was being told all along, well, you can't get DHA in flaxseed.
Right.
And I didn't believe it.
And there's something even really amazing as well. Research has shown that if you consume a saturated fat like coconut oil with those plant-based omega-3s, it actually doubles the conversion rate of the shorter chain fatty acid, ALA, into those, to the DHA and the EPA.
When you talk about coconut oil, I've been using it on my face when I
Great.
find it's wonderful.
Yes.
But are you saying that we should cook with it or eat it or what?
Absolutely.
Both?
Absolutely.
Take
And
a
I'm talking about virgin.
tablespoon of it or
You
cook
can.
with it?
You can cook with it. You can take a tablespoon. You can throw it even into, if you do blended drinks, smoothies, you can throw a tablespoon or two right into a smoothie, blend it up with whatever else you have.
Oh, okay.
Bananas.
I make those all the time.
Yeah, and it's great. There's a lot of saturated fats have got a bad reputation
They do.
as being atherogenic, which means clogs your arteries, builds plaques, which the scientific evidence is really not there to support that. It's really not.
But what about people that consume a lot of meat?
Well, there's a difference here. Saturated fats, again, there's longer chain, and there's medium chain and shorter chain. The saturated fats found in coconut oil, for instance, are medium chain fatty acids that actually get broken down very rapidly and used for energy. They don't get stored as fat in the body. But some of the longer chain fatty acids from meats, they tend to be a lot more difficult to break down, so they get stored as fat in the body as well. But coconut oil, the medium chain fatty acids, really good, and actually are very good for the brain. Do you know that the brain, well, it's mostly
It's mostly fat.
It's mostly water, but take away the water, dry weight, brain is mainly lipids, fat, and proteins.
My name is Anna Vitale. You're watching Mindlight, the program designed to stimulate your thinking about life. We're talking today about holistic nutrition with my very special guest, Michael Pellegrino, a holistic nutritionist.
Okay.
So even if you might get high-quality protein out of well-taken care of animals, I still don't think it's a spiritual thing
Right.
for me. And what are your thoughts about that?
And honestly, I am in complete agreement with you, which is why I don't consume any meats, because this is the path I'm on, is a more ascended path, a spiritual path. So I do agree with you.
Oh, okay.
But as a nutritionist,
You realize that other people
I'm
don't.
dealing with people, and
Right.
I can't be a person. I'm of no authority to tell people, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm going to educate them, let them make their own decisions. But I say, if you are going to choose meat, try to make it a good quality meat at least. You know.
Well, how can anybody make it a good quality meat?
I know.
And
It's
we are,
difficult.
let's face it, we're in an urban culture.
Right. Well, this is
Good
what we can
quality
do.
meat, what is that? It's good quality meat.
Right.
Good quality meat to me would mean raised on a farm and maybe a second before he was going to die, killed right away. So, but that's not the way it
But let
is.
me
Reality
also, let me
is
also
not
cite,
like that.
I want to cite Weston Price, his work, the Weston A. Price Foundation. Weston Price was a dentist who traveled all throughout the world looking at indigenous people. And he did not find one vegan community. They all
One vegan.
Not one vegan community. They all consumed, varying portions of meat in their diet, mostly fish, because a lot of these communities, they're small, they're tribal, they live along coast, little rivers. So their main animal source was fish. Again, the omega-3s, right? So these foods they consumed, and these people had really little degenerative disease. Their teeth were in excellent shape. He actually analyzed their teeth. He compared these people to westernized people and saw that these people eating the processed foods, these people suffered from all the degenerative diseases, had poor teeth. So his research, and I encourage people to actually look into that, because it does have some truth to it. But I agree with you wholeheartedly that for spiritual practice, for the ascension of the mind, of the spirit, I think it's best to avoid meat products, animal products, absolutely.
I think it's best to not eat them. It's very hard to break away from what you've been told for generations upon generations, it's good to eat a lot of meat, it's good to eat this, it's good to eat that. And
Right.
here we are breaking away from it, and you in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it all comes down to individual choice again, and yeah, it really is individual choice what people do. So I try to be non-judgmental about other people's decisions. This is what they want to do. It's fine. I mean, I have some of my best friends are meat eaters, and we get along great. And I think they're wonderful people, and they are very conscious individuals. So I don't want to make it out to be that if you eat meat, you're inferior in any way. I don't believe that at all. But,
Oh, I don't believe people
yeah.
who eat meat are inferior either. I just believe they haven't connected. They haven't connected spiritually to what they're buying. And
Okay.
we have such power with our pocketbook. It's incredible. I mean, I don't want to get too far off the topic, but I know of a very well-known talk host that was taken off the air because people called sponsors of his program and said, we're not going to buy your product, and that's the bottom line.
Right,
money,
right.
money, money.
Of course.
But as we were saying, it is very hard to break away from what you've learned, and it's all right to accept someone who's not where you are. If you're going to judge everybody
Right.
by what they're doing, that's not right either.
Right.
Okay, so the first thing you would do is no more oil.
No, I say raw oils, virgin oils.
Raw like olive oil?
Olive oil is great. Extra virgin olive oil, that would be. Flaxseed oil. Also, but consume that within a month after opening the bottle because, again, they oxidize as well through oxygen in the air. So it's important to consume these oils rather quickly.
How about canola oil?
Organic canola oil is fine. I'm not a big fan of canola, but if you choose organic, non-genetically engineered canola, I'd say you can do a little bit of that. But what I really like a lot is extra virgin olive oil, hemp seed oil, virgin hemp seed oil, the flaxseed oil, and raw coconut oil. The coconut oil, as a saturated fat, is resistant to a lot of this oxidative damage. So it doesn't go rancid as quickly. What the real problem is really the highly refined carbohydrates, the processed foods, things that have trans fats, again, the refined grains. These are the big culprits that really disrupt the mind, cause they actually drive what we call insulin resistance, which you see in those who are overweight and diabetic. These people have insulin resistance. And what's happening is that the cells are resistant to this insulin, causes the pancreas, which produces insulin, to secrete more insulin. But what does insulin do? High levels of insulin has a lot of negative effects on the body. It increases weight gain. It damages the vasculature, meaning our blood's vessels. It increases our cortisol levels. So high insulin levels are actually very damaging. And unfortunately, diabetics, they're testing for their blood glucose every day, but they rarely get their insulin levels checked. And they're actually pumping a lot of exogenous or insulin into their bodies, exogenous meaning from the outside, into their bodies. So yeah, their blood sugar levels look great, but their insulin levels are high. And actually there was a great study called the Accord study, and it showed that aggressive treatment with insulin actually increased the mortality rate of people.
Wow.
So
Instead of helping them?
Instead of helping them. So we're thinking, oh yeah, put insulin, control the blood sugar with insulin. But really, that is not the way to go because the insulin is causing molecular damage, disrupting the body, all the functioning of the body in major ways. And it's actually killing us. So we need to look at the insulin levels and make sure that those are low.
What are some of the refined, what did you call it, refined flour?
Refined, like flour, made
like-
from refined
like
grains.
White, you mean like white flour?
White flour, but even some of these non-white, like the whole grain flours.
The whole grain flours are bad?
They're better than the white, but they're still, I'm not really too fond of them. Again, these are not whole grains. When you mill grains, you're removing a lot of nutrients from them. And what they'll do is you'll see on packages, they'll say like enriched flour. They add some nutrients back in, or fortified. But it's only a small smidget of nutrients that they're adding back in. What's happening is that by milling, they're taking out all the antioxidants that are found, all these different phytochemicals that are actually very beneficial. They're healing substances. They're taking that out. And we need these substances. So what I say is, get whole grains, like whole oats, cook them. That's okay. Don't have tons of it, but have, decent portions.
Instead of white flour
Exactly.
and white rice?
Yeah, white rice is
Spaghetti?
still a whole grain, but, they just
Spaghetti?
remove the fiber of it. I'm not a fan of the flour products, to be completely honest with
Right, yeah. And with a name like Pellegrino, you surely
I
must
know,
go to
I know.
family
I'm doing my,
gatherings and they put out a plate of pasta. You
I'm
mean
doing
you
my
never,
Italian heritage
you never have
disservice.
any? You never have any?
No, not really. I mean, back in the day, sure, but now,
Now you
It's out
can
of my
go there
diet.
and it smells good and you just don't eat it.
yeah, I've gotten past that phase, absolutely.
Good. So what are some of the deficiencies that can create poor mind states that you mentioned? Was it insulin?
A lot of people with mental disorders have imbalances with neurotransmitters, things like serotonin, dopamine, GABA, norepinephrine. And these neurotransmitters are really vital for proper signaling between neurons. The neurotransmitters are actually formed from amino acids, and amino acids are building blocks of proteins. So what we can do, and what studies have shown, is that giving the body good quality proteins will help provide the amino acids so that we can build our neurotransmitters. Let's also look at vitamins as well, certain vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Vitamins and minerals are cofactors for biochemical reactions. They're needed for those biochemical reactions to actually operate, to function. So if we're deficient in a specific nutrient, these biochemical processes to, let's say, synthesize those neurotransmitters from those amino acids, it just won't work. So that's why we need to supply ourselves with the best nutrition that we can get our hands on.
Hello, caller?
I'd like to know if you could make mention of where people might look for grass-fed beef. And a second item, is there a basic guide that he could mention for more plant food diets, some elementary guide that a beginner might refer to?
Because I don't eat any meats, I really am not too familiar with where you can find that. Although there might be certain organic stores, like maybe Whole Foods Market, Trader Joe's perhaps, that you can look into. And they might actually carry some organically grass-fed meats. I think they do, so check that out.
Thank you very much.
And what was the second question?
A basic guide that you might mention for someone beginning a transitional diet more for plant-based.
I would say a great book is A Diet for a New America by John Robbins. He was actually the son of the Baskin-Robbins, the Robbins family.
Yes.
Yes, he has a great book all about transitioning or going to a plant-based diet. So that would be something to look into.
Thank you ever so much.
You're welcome.
So I think, we've covered a lot of things. And
Absolutely.
If anyone would like to find out more about you, they can visit your website.
Yes, so I encourage people to visit Natural Holistic Solutions. That's holistic with an H. And actually, for this interview, I published on my website already a 7-page comprehensive guide or comprehensive paper talking about a holistic nutritional support for mental and emotional conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage people to go out and look at that, read the document, learn something, empower yourself with information. I'm a big fan of self-empowerment.
So am I. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Anna.
And I want to take you into yourself more, to ask yourself what you can do to help your life become empowered, whether it's the nutritional aspect of it, the spiritual aspect of it, or the mental strength that you need. Because thinking makes you powerful. When you think about things, you create. Everything in life begins with a thought. Thank you.